Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. Today, we have one of our favorite returning guests. We have Miss Olivia Igwe joining us today, the constantly effervescent, the constantly optimistic and positive person that you are. Welcome back, Olivia.
Thank you for having me. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. It's always a pleasure seeing you guys.
We are so happy to have you back. When we last spoke, we were touching on the topic of social media and some of the detrimental damage it can have, not only on the younger people, but older people with bullying and shaming and body image. So you are very active on social media. You have your Be You, Do You podcast that you're wearing your sweatshirt today. Tell us about your experiences with social media and what you're seeing, and maybe some advice to people to not take things so seriously or personally if someone's being damaging.
Yeah, that's an awesome question because lately with social media, it's been so much me. It's been so much selfish, only wanting to talk about myself. But then also it's the fact of other people having opinions. And the thing is like, it is what reality is. Media turned it into that, where you only see a snippet of what somebody is posting.
Yes.
So you don't know what the person maybe has been going through or whatever. So you're only seeing what you see. Mm-hmm. And today, I must say, a lot of people, it's easy to talk behind a screen. But if you had the person in front of you, next to you, you could have a total, disconnection. We could even go from the fact of like, LOL, I'm laughing out loud and you're not, but you're smiling so hard. That's just one of them. Or it could be, I tend to watch videos and I like to just see a bit of content without drawing myself too much into. But it is the fact of, the comment section, some of it are hilarious, of course, and some of it are just, people are ignorant. And very mean. They just don't know the power of their words. And because they also probably haven't been taught how to talk or to communicate. And when you write something, it doesn't mean that it's perceived the right way. For example, when my mom writes a message and she writes like 15 exclamation marks, for me, it seems she's screaming at me. But for her, it's just like, oh, it's fun. It's not aggressive.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting. She's excited.
Yeah, she's super excited about it. And I'm like, you're shouting at me literally through this. And she's like, I'm not. And so it's understanding that we all have perceptions. And that's why I have a hard time, is because communication is getting lost in translation. And there's so much of disagreement for something that, if we just had picked up a phone call and talked, we would have that situation handled.
Do you know how many people I deal with right now where I call them and they're like, oh, you're old fashioned and you actually picked up the phone and called? I'm like, well, yes, because but honestly, people are like, oh, I can just fire off a text. And I'm like, but I don't know what, like you're saying, I don't know what your tone is. Yes. I don't know, and whatever we're talking about can easily lead to another question that we had. And I tell people, I'm like, this will be a lot faster than me trying to type and wait for your response. Like, so this whole lack of communication is freaking frustrating.
Yeah.
I believe like, the typed words on the page get completely freaking lost. You don't know what the tone is. You don't know what they were thinking when they wrote it, and people fire these messages off, which is just like, relax, like take 30 seconds, take a deep breath, but when it comes to the social media side of it, I do believe a lot of people hide behind their screen and they're like, I can finally see whatever I want. And it's just like, but at the end of the day, it's like, just shut up. Like this literally does no good, except
it doesn't bring me. I've learned the old fashioned way, and you guys probably heard, like, if you don't have anything to say, shut your mouth. If you don't have anything to talk about, if it's not productive, don't say it. My thing is that everything that you leave on social media has a print. We all look at all, famous celebrities that said something and they shouldn't have, and it comes back because it was, the wrong moment or somebody just wanted to make fun. I really just believe that everything is just laid out. So you've got to be careful of your words. So in your second question that you did ask, Wendy, was how do you overcome this? Well, first of all, I feel that there's a lot more people overwhelmed. So overwhelmed is it's a choice. And it's just being able to snip it down to maybe 3 points of 3 things that you can do today. What can you do today to change your atmosphere? What can you give to somebody, and what can you receive? Because I know when we give, our energy just shifts because we're empathetic and we love being surrounded. So I always say, like, be intentional of what you're wearing, what you're going on to. The social media algorithm loves to give you stuff that you spent maybe 5 seconds on or more. So I remember when my dad, I put him on TikTok, and at first it was just like a bunch of everything together. And I was like, try and follow people that you love. Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, that manifestation, all that kind of good stuff. Like, that will come up on your feed, on stuff that you don't like. And if you're not interested in, the case that we're going through, abortion or politics or whatever, if you click on the screen, you can say not interested. So automatically the AI system will just have it vanish.
But it's funny because I remember there was a study that came out that said one of the biggest things about social media is that it likes to start the fight. And that's the dangerous things. That's what these algorithms are doing, is people will spend more time on them if they get angry.
Yeah.
Because then you start scrolling and you start getting in there, and your blood pressure is going, everything's going, and you're like,
so you're part of the movie. You're just sucked in, just like the Matrix thing. So yesterday, for some reason, there's this couple that were supposed to be together. They're not, whatever. And so I was like, why is this coming onto my feed? And I was scrolling at the comments, and there's this girl. She's like, I have no idea who this couple is, but I'd like to know why they're in my feed. And I'm in the UK and they're in Australia or in the US. And you had like 25 messages of other women from Portugal to Ghana to New Zealand. They're like, I have no idea, but I want to watch the video to see what it was. And so if there is a lot of comments on one particular video, then automatically, the platform is going to be like, ooh, this is exciting. I'm going to blast it to different people. And if the story and the hook at the beginning is good, you'll have the person watch till the end. And storytelling blended with fear is what works really, really well, because people are fueled by fear.
Well, adding to what Joel said, I had a friend who posted something on Facebook a couple months ago, and he said, could you guys put, instead of liking it, could you put an angry next to it? Because I heard that actually feeds the AI. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what?
But it is true. Like, and for example, if you put something in the comment section and you put, for example, like, drop me a 5 or, drop me a 2 in the comments or whatever, automatically, for example, Facebook will be like, oh, that's spamming. So, we're not going to push that content. Whereas if you say, what I generally do, I don't do it myself because that's not my market, but I know a couple of girls, I tell them to do this. So they put a before and after picture, and then they say, hey, look, if you want more information and you want me to send it over, tell me how much she lost in the comments. So you're going to have, oh, she lost 5 kilos. She lost 6. She lost 7. She lost 8. And so automatically the algorithm will pick it up compared to mine, where it'll be like, drop me a 5 if you want more info. Or if you want info, social media will figure it out. And it's like, oh, no, we're not going to, she's, spamming or whatever, which makes no sense. But,
Yeah. The joy of social media is starting to go away.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sad because it's like, I think, I still like it for communicating with people, and you want to check in with your friends and family. You want to just see funny cat videos and puppy videos. I'm like, I'm all for that. And I use it for work a lot, but if you start scrolling through it, you realize these apps are just, they become so narcissistic that it's, and it's like, so now let's get into the fun subject. The downside, which I think the biggest thing I see, is body image. And I think that's a huge issue, is that people don't realize the filters that people are using, the amount of time they're spending to take one photo, and it's mind-boggling to me. But it's not just that. I think the part that I find more interesting is that, women have had this for generations.
Forever.
And in the spirit of equality, I think it's happening for men as well. And it is, because like every man on social media has to be in a tiny little Speedo and has to have cut abs. They've got to be a photo at the gym. And I'm like, can I just sit on the couch and have a cookie? Like, what's wrong with me? And it does. And it's scary because it's really messing with people's heads. And I don't think we're not going to see the full effect of this till the next generation. Where,
absolutely.
People, I mean, there was another thing I heard where people, don't realize, but like your selfie actually distorts your face. That's not how you actually look.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
depending on the lighting and how you hold the camera, it will look completely different. So if you look at below, it makes you look fatter. Then when you have it up high, you seem as if you're taller.
yeah.
Huh.
You know, so, but even just like a face-on selfie, the camera distorts your face. You know, so this is not how you actually look.
Yeah.
So, and we don't think about those things. We're like, oh, this is just how I am today. So let me just filter it, and then the skin's clear and everything's good. And then you go back, you look in
My
the mirror.
favorite is where they pull the face up into the heart-shaped face when they actually have a square face.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point now, it's like, okay, so we have all these people putting filters on, and I don't use filters because, one, I don't know how to, so
No, I
just
do.
leave it at that. But you're now seeing someone's completely distorted face of how they want to be perceived, which is not, in fact, how they look in real life.
Yeah.
So now we've got this whole false imaging going on.
Oh, but that also spirals into the fact that people are now getting plastic surgery to look like what they look like with a filter.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, you know, like I said, I think there's a lot of pros to social media. I do think there's a lot of good things that can come from it. Like, you know, it has made the world smaller. It's also given voice to a lot of things that I don't think should have a voice. But I think this is also another scary side, is that it's really messed with people's mindset of who they are.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. So how do you
Or
talk?
individuality of looking unique. How about
Yeah.
that?
And talking about yourself, like without, yes, you say individuality. So just you, like, how do you show up
Yeah.
as you? So I've had a couple of, before jumping into what you were asking, just to finish on that one, is some people I'll meet in real life and they'll be like, oh, you look much gorgeous in real life than on social media. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And I don't know. I think it's because
Not a little way to pat yourself on the back there.
right. So I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like personality. They think that as you're personifying a image of who you are in real life, you're completely different, which is also really, which you have to find a fine divine line. So I don't know what your question was, Joelle. How?
I guess the question, so you deal with a lot of people on social media, and I know you work with a lot of women on social media. So how do you talk to them about saying, be careful with this?
Yeah, so I tell them to limit their scroll timing and to intentionally. So I give them like maybe, you know, get content that you need of people that you admire, that you look up to, you know, a couple of influencers or people that their content resonates. And then break it down to what you can create if they're creating something on social media. So, you know, 3 tips on how to be a mom, or what does she use? So I'm trying to get them to watch what social media is doing, which works in terms of tips, ideas, etc. And then to pivot back to them in the sense of, you're just as an amazing mom as, you know, Kiara next door. But people want to know the real you. So tapping into what makes you unique for people to purchase from you. But that you will only know if you start pouring content. That you will only know if you are consistent at showing up on social media by just being the real you. And I always say, I would want you to go live, not like to flatter ego, etc., but because people can see your personality. I was talking to a lady and she was saying, look, I can just record a video and post it. I'm like, it's not the same, because you could do that take 15,000 times. Whereas if you go live, people can see that, oh my goodness, like, I don't know, the child came in and you're like, oh, dude, my child is here. So people can relate. And I think today we want to be able to relate, but also to be able to be human. So the scrolling time is so important. The pouring content is so important. And then after that, the last thing is 2 other things that I say: be still in moments of finding just you. So no, you know, no social media certain times, just go into nature, see the abundance, like do stuff that you love doing. Like I do CrossFit, so that helps me break that pattern of, you know, comparing myself to other people, or going through the scroll hole of, you know, not moving my body. I mean, it could be workout, it could be yoga. I still get it. You know, today I worked out. My arms are still sore, but I work out because I know if I do, it's not to get the abs, it's not to get the body. Yes, I want to be stronger, but it's also for my mental health. So
yeah,
it has to be a priority for me. And if I don't do that, then I'm derailing. And then I just have pockets of moments where I just blast music that just help me shift out. and also get to see other people. So go back to networking, go back to events, go back to a coffee. So lately I've been going to a coffee place, so Joe and the Juice, not because like take my money, right? Even though, but it's to also get into the mode of I've been stuck for 2 years at home. I need to get out. I need to do things that will refresh my mind. Like, who could I meet on the way to the place? You know, maybe it could be a smile from somebody else. Like, be more aware of, you know, that. And if last thing that I would say is critiques, like I got a couple of like one video that really hit hard that I posted on different platforms. Now every platform is going to be different. TikTok is going to reply to a different sort of style, to Facebook, to YouTube, to Instagram. And I know I posted a video. I don't know if I told you guys, I put a video on a transition. So one of my past and one of my future of where I was 5 years ago, you know, I was supposed to get married, didn't get married. I shut down my company. It cost me 50 euros, had to shut it down for 4K. I had an abortion. So, you know, just things that were relatable. And then I turned it into who I was being. And that got crazy comments. TikTok went crazy. I think it got 2,200 views, and the comments are crazy. Like people are just giving, look, I don't even know them. Like I'm giving you so much love, energy, etc. Instagram went well. TikTok's, Facebook, not really, but doesn't matter. And then YouTube, oh my goodness, like abortion, who are you? Like, are you crazy?
Demographics, yeah.
Right. And so, but I don't know how the video popped up. And so you're going to get it differently. And so you got to remember that one, in order for you to grow, you're going to have to get people that don't like you, you know, like it or not, you know, Donald Trump to Beyonce to Jay-Z to whoever is somebody that is well known, Kevin Hart. They all got people that didn't agree. But at the same time, I heard this from a mentor, which is not mine. But she says there are statues all over here in the UK and in Europe. There's loads of statues. And these statues of, you know, Abraham Lincoln, or it could be, you know, the lions that we have in the UK, any kind of monument that we have, they still standing because they did something good. And if you can hold on to something like yourself and compare yourself to a statue, you're going to get people that disagree or don't. The only thing on social media is going to be much louder. But remember, people on social media, they won't come to your door and have a conversation. It's easier to do it on a phone because it's 99, it's free. It's free.com.
It's a coward's way because they don't want to engage.
Yeah.
No, I've read comments on Facebook, not my posts, but other people's posts, and I'll see just the horrific things people will say to each other. And I thought, you know, if these people actually sat in a room together, would they actually have acted that way? And also, whatever happened to manners? Someone was commenting, it had to do with Women's Health magazine. I believe they put a rather heavy woman on the cover. And being a fitness magazine, there were a lot of comments. And some of them were horrible. And I just thought, you know, whatever happened to if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say it. Regardless if you agree or disagree with this magazine cover, no one called you and asked you for your opinion. Women's Health magazine did not give you a ring and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or actually, maybe it was Sports Illustrated. I think it was Sports Illustrated.
Oh, that was happened, the swimsuit issue. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was, sorry, swimsuit issue in Sports Illustrated. And again, it's like they made a decision. You can disagree with it, but you don't have to be hostile about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, my biggest stress reliever is working out. The pandemic put a little crimp in that because gyms closed. Yeah. But we have 2 large dogs that we have to walk every day. And we do between 4 and 6 miles a day, depending on how we feel. And this is what I don't get about people walking their dogs. And I don't know if you see this. When we walk our dogs, I do not take my phone. I am present with my animal because I want to make sure if there's a squirrel or something, I'm there. I see people walking down the street doing this. Holding their dog. They're not even paying attention to their dog. Maybe their dog's in the middle of doing their business and they're dragging it along because they're not paying attention. Can't you just take half an hour out of your day, put down the phone, and just enjoy your animal?
No. As a society, we've grown. We don't put our phones down anymore. We're so accustomed to whether it's work, you're expected to respond to somebody within a minute or two if you get an email or a text. If
Yeah.
social media, the addiction issues that are there are out of control. And people don't want to call it that, but that's really what, if you
They
think
know it
about
is an
Oh,
addiction.
absolutely.
it,
Yeah.
I mean, so I think, no, people don't realize how addicted they've gotten to the lifestyles that we've created based on a little piece of technology. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
terrible.
basically our lives. Mm-hmm.
It actually generates panic because my husband, Mike, teaches at a local university. And one of the things he told his students to do was when you're watching a movie, put your phone in the other room. See how hard it is for you to not grab for that phone. And see how much anxiety develops of what am I missing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's phenomenal. I mean,
Mhm.
personally, I'm using my phone less and less. I kind of keep it off to the side. I've silenced a lot of alarms because the damn thing was buzzing every 3 seconds, every time there was a notification. And it was driving me crazy.
Because it's like the fear of missing out. I've
Yeah.
turned off all my notifications. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. I'd be on my phone all day and not be productive.
Yeah.
So it's going back to finding what is your return on investment.
What's
And
your
if you're
balance?
using it as a business, then you've got to be able to, what is good? Do I need to reply to this now? And also sets boundaries for people to, understand that yes, I am on social media, but like I'm not replying to your message right now unless it's urgent. And that's why I always make sure that if I know who you are, then you'll get my number. Like my clients will get my number because if they need anything or whatever. But if it's not related to business or anything, you're staying on my Instagram or my Facebook or my TikTok or my LinkedIn, and that's how it's going to go. Or I'll see the phone ring, which is usually sometimes my mom will do this. She'll call me and I'll be like, well, I can't pick up now because I set myself a time frame to work and I need to owe that to myself. So it brings like discipline.
Yeah. Oh,
it's communication. It goes down to communication, what we were talking about.
Yeah. And I love that the boundaries thing. Real quick, could you tell us about your podcast, the Be You Do You?
Yeah. So the Be You Do You just started because initially I did videos. So YouTube videos back in the day, and I put it on SoundCloud. Unfortunately, I paid for the option, and SoundCloud now says that they owe the rights to all the podcasts that I put in the back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I just, social media. Anyways, so a friend challenged me. My mentor is like, why don't you just do a podcast? Because a lot of people today are going to listen to audio. And why not listen to it on their way to whatever they're doing? And I was like, oh, do I need like special equipment, whatever? And so I just literally every Monday I'll film like a podcast with my phone on Anchor. So like just spreads
I love
it out
Anchor.
to everybody. Like it's just easy, right?
Yeah, they make it so simple.
It's so simple. No music before, no after. I'm just like, it has to be easy, simple, 10, 15 minutes. And then I talk about, style. I talk about confidence. Sometimes I'll sprinkle it with network marketing. At some point, I want to be able to bring some interviews in there. But that's how it started. Initially, it started interviewing. And then I just thought, well, what about if I can give you maybe some inspiration, I don't really like the word motivation, but like just small tips that you can get into confidence or into empowering yourself. And that's just how it did it. And then the Be You Do You was just, I needed something easy. And then I just found the Be You Do You. And then my dad was like, that sounds kind of cool. And then we turned it into like a sweatshirt, a jumper, and then a inspirational postcard, because at the back of each jumper there is either, so there's like I think that's London Bridge, or that's maybe Hammersmith. Okay, so it's the Hammersmith Bridge. And then I just stuck some inspirational postcards on it, and people can decide if they want a certain type of jumper or not. So it's like a branding in one. One thing that I did love is, as I've been doing videos constantly on live, etc., on Facebook, somebody got a pair of earphones, and instead of putting her name on it, she put Be You Do You. And I was like, so that's when I realized the power of just being you and branding yourself as, this is who I am. I've got different categories. You can take whatever resonates, but Be You Do You is the empire statement. So
Nice.
I'm sorry someone swiped it, but that does happen so often. I mean,
No. She was no. You don't worry. She actually she was like she was so happy because she's.
oh, okay. I thought
She put
somebody
it on her.
roasted it.
Sorry, no. She put it on her iPad, on her Apple Podcast like earphones. So she put "Be You, Do You," and I just thought for me that's what I want you to do at the end of the day, regardless of who you are, do business or not. If I can like sprinkle a bit of inspiration for you, and every time you look at your earphones and you see that, that's my joy.
That's fantastic. And they can just find you, just go to Spotify and just go
so it's just "Be You, Do You" by Olivia Igwe. It should be on iTunes. I had an issue with it a couple of months ago, but it should be good. Technology it's great when it doesn't. It's like, guys, you have one mission.
I had that same issue when I was getting up and running on. My dogs have now joined me, so that's why everything's moving behind me. They decided they're going to visit, and tails are wagging. But no, I had the same issues when I was trying to, get things up and running on Anchor, and some were very easy, and some were like, "What do I have to do?"
Like me? No, like, can you not do it for me? No, but we need no. Can you just do it? Like, I mean, I'm paying you for a service.
Right.
Apple.
I was like, codes, what codes? And my favorite, it's like learning all the tech terms, because you know me, I don't like acronyms, I try to stay away from them. And then everyone's throwing acronyms for, IT acronyms. I'm like,
Let me get back to you.
Yeah, not my forte. But on that, so thank you. We will have you back. I mean, you're a returning guest. We love having you. We love the energy you bring, and your knowledge about the social media space is huge. So we look forward to seeing you maybe in a couple months.
Yeah, let's do this. Like, I mean, and you know what? Social media is always going to evolve. So what is new now may be old, in the next couple of months. So, that's why there's showing up in a certain way, but there's also just like not caring about what's going on, but focusing on you. Because otherwise you just get sucked into this new thing, shiny thing on the side, and try it out.
Oh, it's just feeding our ADD. And that's attention deficit disorder.
And ego.
And ego. Yeah. Yeah, the ego thing. I mean, again, I thank God I did not grow up with social media. I think I would have turned out a little differently.
I think we all would have. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Although Joel was always more tech savvy than I was. I remember in college you had the AOL instant messaging thing, and I found that fascinating. I was just like, you can talk to people around the world on the computer?
Yes,
you had that too, Joel?
Oh, I remember my first time communicating was through the intranet, where everything was DOS and you had to type everything in like that. And that's, oh yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I am showing my age.
You're Jesus Christ right now. It's JV, but I think it's JC.
My disciples. Yes.
Way ahead of us. Way ahead of us.
We're the two remaining disciples.
I would just watch, and I was just fascinated. I'm like, this is magic.
I didn't have it.
It was weird. But now, look at us now. So yeah.
Look at us now. With my little chancy pants rubbing his butt against me. What can I say? Okay, guys.
Okay, on that note.
On that, thank you so much for joining us, Olivia. We will see you again soon. Enjoy the Jubilee or whatever festivities you have planned for this week. And now you're like, not really.
It's raining. It's pouring. It's supposed to be sunny. Okay. It's shocking for once. It's pouring with rain. So All
right. Well, enjoy. At least you have water.
Yes, we will.
On that, guys, thank you so much. We will catch you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.